Hey everybody, Jeff with Defensive Shooting Skills. Sorry I haven't got any videos out lately. It's been kind of crazy. I lost my voice for a few days, and then also, I don't know if you guys know this or not, my wife Erica, who's the part owner of the company and instructor, fell and broke her ankle. She's actually having to have surgery today. Today is Wednesday, March 2nd, and it's about 2:15 in the morning. Haven't been able to sleep, got a lot going on. Had somebody try to break in a couple of weeks ago, and they keep trying to break in cars and things like that. So I was actually just been kind of sitting up and kind of watching at night a little bit, myself and my neighbor. But decided I'd come back and try to work on a video. So keep my wife in your prayers, and that she goes through the surgery okay, and that everything heals quickly. This video I want to talk about today is the top 10 mistakes made by new shooters or concealed carry holders. As new shooters and a lot of concealed carry holders, we make a lot of mistakes. There's things that we do that aren't really up to standard or aren't really, sometimes even really safe. And there's a lot of advice that we get from people and things like that that just aren't true or will not work for us. So we kind of want to go through some of those things that we would be using as a new shooter or concealed carry holder. So let's kind of dive into that a little bit. Number one, don't buy because of someone's opinion. We all have somebody or people say, you should buy this gun, you should buy that gun, because that's mine, it's because of what I have. You know, you can get some opinions, watch some reviews, things like that nature, but go down to the gun store, pick out a gun, take that gun if it's something that you're interested in, see how it feels in your hand. If you don't like the way it feels, get rid of it. I mean, because if you don't like the way it feels, you're not going to want to train with it. Not only that, but does it have everything you want? Do you want it to have a safety? Do you want it to have a decocker? You know, all these different things come into play. You want it to match for what you want. Okay? A lot of people say, oh, you need to buy a Glock. Oh, you need to buy a Smith & Wesson. You need to buy a SIG. You know, you buy what fits you and what you like. Okay? So don't take people's opinions for it. But not only that, but before you purchase that firearm, because that's going to be a big purchase. That's going to be your personal protection firearm, or it could be just your shooting firearm or whatever you want. Take it, go out on the range, go to a gun range or a gun store that actually has rentals and shoot it. See how you like it. You know, might be a smaller gun, might have a little bit more snap to it, a little bit more recoil you may not like. You may want to go with a little bit bigger gun, you know, depends on what you want it for. Number two, buy your own firearm. We get a lot of people, especially couples and husbands and wife, things of that nature, where a husband will just give his wife a fun, she'll come take a class, and he'll just give her a gun and say, here, use this one. Again, just like number one, if you don't like the way it feels, don't use it. Get your own. Have them buy your own or go buy your own yourself. There's a reason that they don't want to carry it. Okay? So make sure that it's a gun that you like. I tell people when it comes to picking out a firearm, go to the range or go to the gun store and tell them what you want. Is it for concealed carry? Is it for just personal protection in the home? Is it for target shooting? Is it for competition? Again, make sure you're getting the gun for what you want it for and what it's going to be designed for. Because the last thing you want to do is like have a competition gun for concealed carry. I mean, you hear about accidents taking place, that's a good one. And the reason being is this. I've got a competition gun. My trigger pull on it's about 1.5 pounds. It's designed for speed shooting. That's the last thing that I want to use for concealed carry. You know, what do you want it for? What options, again, do you want? Do you want night sights? Do you want a laser? Do you want a safety? Do you want something small, compact, that fits in the palm of your hand? You know, what's it going to be used for? Is it a backup gun? Is it a primary carry? What do you want it for? Okay, is it just a home defense gun? Let them know. Have them line out 8 or 10 guns. Pick it up and see the way it feels. Again, if you don't like the way it feels, get rid of it. Narrow it down to that one that just feels perfect in your hand. Take it out on the range, shoot it, and then again, make the decision or make an actually informed decision. Number three, dress up or overkill. Oh my gosh, for concealed carry, this is the worst. I see people all the time that think that they have to have Punisher grips. They have to have the ghost flames. They have to have everything cut out. They have to have a gold barrel. They have to have all these different things. I tell people, especially for concealed carry, use the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. The reason being is everything that you that gun, if you have involved in a defensive shooting situation, everything that you do with that gun is going to be used against you. You don't want a prosecutor saying, look what they did. They wanted to shoot somebody. They were hoping to. Keep it simple. The only things that I recommend for concealed carry pistols is this. I recommend night sights so you can see in low light conditions. I don't know if anybody, you guys know what night sights are. They're actually tritium gas that illuminates in the dark. They last like 10 to 15 years. There's a lot of different ones out there. You've got Trijicon, you've got Meprolite, you've got True Glow. They're range anywhere from $40, $50 up to $150. Depends on your gun and depends on what you want. They have high definition, standard definition, all same color, multicolor. Pick what you like, and whatever you do, whichever one you do, have them put on by a professional. Don't try to do it yourself. Have them put on by a gunsmith or somebody who knows what they're doing, and train and practice. Get used to those sights, because when you do that, when you make an altercation to your firearm, you have to get used to that again. It's almost like starting over. So continue to train and continue to practice. Other thing that I recommend is your grips. Make sure it's a grip that you like. Not the design of the grip or something like that, but make sure it's a grip that's comfortable. A grip that you can get a good grip on that firearm in an emergency situation, in a defensive situation. Make sure that you have the proper backstrap on it where it fits your hand. Some of them out there, like locks and things like that, especially the Gen 1, 2s, and 3s, you don't have a backstrap option. The thickness of the grip is the thickness of the grip. Some of those I tell people put Talon grips on there, which is like a 3M adhesive. That's almost like a sandpaper. It's very rough to where if your hands are sweating like in a defensive situation, you can still maintain a good grip on that firearm. And then last but not least, I'm on the fence post about is lasers. I see the potential of lasers. I see how a laser could be effective. I see, especially like in a low light condition, no light condition, you're on the move. You're at a weird angle, you're falling down or falling back or something of that nature. I can see the potential of a laser and where it could come in handy. The problem I have with lasers is this. People tend to become dependent upon that laser. They forget how to use the iron sights. They forget how to use those iron sights. And there again, a laser is a man-made product. Your battery could go dead. It could get bumped, knocked out of alignment where it's not accurate. You have to constantly chuck them to make sure that they're still on point when it comes to your accuracy and sighted in. And there again, there's a little thing called Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And the last thing you want to have, especially in a defensive situation, is to pull that firearm up to shoot and it's not working. So use a laser to enhance. Do not become dependent upon that laser. And that's pretty much it, what I recommend for concealed carry. There's nothing wrong with having guns that you want the Punisher grips or the Ghost Flames or everything, the rail cut out, things of that nature, or the slide cut out to make it lighter. That's fine. Save those guns for competition, save those guns for collecting, things of that nature. Don't use that for your everyday carry. Not only that, your everyday carry, think about it. When you use it in a holster and you're taking it out of your holster because you should be training and practicing with that, it's going to get wear marks on it. And last thing you want to do is spend a ton of money to get this thing all dressed up and start putting wear marks on it. Number 4, buy odd or hard to find calibers. Buying odd calibers or hard to find calibers, or that would be hard to find ammunition. During the COVID outbreak, when the rush on guns, 380 ammunition literally became impossible to find. It's still hard to find, and when you do find it, it's very costly. So if you can shoot a 380, typically you're going to be able to shoot a 9mm. There's not going to be a lot more difference. Matter of fact, a 9mm might actually shoot a little smoother because 380s tend to be a little bit smaller, so they might have a little bit more snap. So you might not have the recoil with a 9mm, believe it or not, that you have with a 380. It could be a toss-up, or it could be 6 one way, half a dozen the other, or it could be a total different feel. So you just have to go to the range again, rent the gun, go to the ranges that have rentals, try that gun, see how it works for you, see how it feels, and go from there. Some of the older calibers, 32 automatic, 25 automatic. These are calibers that are going to the wayside. They're not going to be making that ammunition anymore. Those are guns were popular back with our grandparents and things of that nature. They just don't have the popularity now. For one, they just don't have the knockdown. They don't have the stopping power that we want. Another caliber, believe it or not, I would very much hesitate on buying, which is a great caliber. It's great for concealed carry. It's great for personal protection, is .40 caliber Smith & Wesson. The reason being is because all of law enforcement, the government contracts, all went back to 9mm, because what they have found is the ballistics and some of the new powders and some of the bullets or the projectiles that they're using are very close. There's not a big difference. But an advantage of a 9mm over the .40 is this. You have higher magazine capacity. You have less recoil. So if you have less recoil, it means that you can get back on target quicker. So that's why the government and law enforcement's all going back to that. With that being said, they're not going to stop making the ammunition. They're just going to limit the quantities of it they're going to make. So what's that going to do? One, it's going to make it harder to find, and two, it's going to drive the price up. So that's something that you may think about when it comes time to buy a handgun, especially some of these odd or hard to find calibers. Just like also the 5.7, that's hard to find and it's very expensive. Not only that, but if you look at it, it's not real good for concealed carry because it doesn't have the knockdown. It's very fast and light and it will go right through, but it doesn't have that stopping power. So that's a round that you may want to think twice about for concealed carry or personal protection. Think about this. Number 5. Think that carrying a firearm open or concealed is a fix-it. It is not a fix-it. A lot of people think that because I'm carrying a firearm, that's an excuse for bad behavior. And by bad behavior, I'm not always talking about going out. I'm not talking about going out and starting problems. I'm not talking about anything like that. Not being aware of your surroundings, not being aware of your situation, not paying attention to what's going on around you, not looking where potential threats might appear when we're out in public. Now, we don't want to cross that line into paranoia, but we need to be situationally aware. So, with that being said, a lot of people think that if I'm carrying a firearm, that is a fix-it. I can get myself out of that situation. And that is the last thing that you need to be thinking about. That is that is a wrong mindset that you need to have. We need to have the mindset of this. We need to be looking for trouble. I mean, not looking for it, but we need to be aware if any trouble presents itself, and we need to be able to figure out a way to get away from that trouble. We need to avoid that conflict if at all possible. We're going to talk about videos on that stuff later. But the thing is a firearm, a concealed carry, especially if you have a CPL license, is nothing more than a license that allows you to carry a firearm that would be otherwise illegal. So that's all it is. That's all it is. Not only that, but once you get your CPL, you will be held to a higher standard. As an instructor, I'm held to a higher standard. As a training counselor, I'm held to a higher standard. That could be good and it could be bad if you're ever in a defensive situation. So one thing I tell people you need to do is anytime you go and train, log that. The type of training you did, the amount of rounds you fired, things of that nature, because all that stuff, if you're in a defensive shooting situation, can be used to help you. It makes it mean that you're more professional. And it also could be used against you in a roundabout way where a prosecutor could say, there again, they were looking or wanted to do something. You knew better than to squeeze that trigger. Number 6. Oh my gosh. This is a big one we hear and we see a lot. It's people spend all their money on guns and accessories and never train. Never train. I call him the poser. I've been to the range and you got the guy that knows everything there is to know about everything. He pulls out this gun that's $1,000 gun. It's decked out to the hilt, and he can't hit the broadside of a barn. Don't buy it. Don't become an accessory clown. There's nothing wrong with having accessories for your firearm. Again, night sights, proper grips, like ARs, having lights, flashlights, different lasers, things of that nature. But don't just become an accessory nut and never use it to train. If you don't train, it doesn't matter anyway. You have to continue training. The whole key to when it comes to concealed carry is training. When it comes to just owning a firearm, you have to train. Either way, you have to train. So remember that the whole key to everything is the training. Number 7, stop dry fire training or going to the range to train. We know we did a video with Mike Visser here a couple of weeks ago on the importance of dry fire training and different things that you can do to dry fire train. These are key elements when it comes to continuing your training. You don't have to go to the range every week. You don't have to go to the range, as much as you normally would want to. Ammunition is still hard to find, and with everything going on in the world right now, I think it's still going to be hard to find for a while. So do your dry fire practices, do your dry fire drills, and continue to train that way. Continue that neural pathway from your brain to your finger. Not only that, but you have to go to the range and train. When you go to the range and train, I tell people just don't go to an indoor range. Most of your indoor ranges, all you can do is shoot head on to a target straight in front of you. It's right there, and that's the last way you want to consistently to train. I like going to the outdoor ranges, and the reason being is because the outdoor ranges typically will let you shoot at angles. Because think about it. If you're in a defensive situation, your attacker may not be straight up on you, facing you straight on. They might be at an angle. And if all you do is train looking straight on, your brain is going to look for that before you're able to take that shot, and that could cost you your life. Also, mix up your targets. Just don't shoot at target with circles. Your brain will also look for that, and that can slow or cause you to hesitate on squeezing that trigger. We can program ourselves subconsciously without even realizing that we've done that. So continue to go to the range. Continue to do your dry fire drills. You owe it to yourself. I tell people this all the time, and I tell them in my classes. If you're not going to continue to train and you're not going to continue to practice, then don't carry in public, because all you're going to do is be a threat to yourself or somebody else. You never rise to the occasion. You will always fall back to the love of your training. There's been multiple instances where people didn't train and they just started to carry a gun and they ended up losing their life before they could even draw their firearm. So continue to practice, continue to train. Number 8 kind of goes with the one we had a little bit about accessory clowns, I call them. People have a tendency to buy the cheapest accessories or holsters. This is also a mistake. Cheap things are seldom good, and good things are seldom cheap. Spend the extra money. Get a good quality or brand name product, especially if it's something that you're putting your life on. The last thing you want is to have something that you go to use and that firearm not work, or those accessories that you bought, those sights don't work, the laser doesn't work, the flashlight doesn't work, the trigger, if you had a trigger job on your firearm or something like that, that doesn't work properly because it was done by somebody who has no idea what they're doing. Spend the extra money. Have it put on, by a professional who knows what they're doing. Have your night sights put on by a professional. If you're having something internal work or something to make that firearm operate better, have that done by a professional. Doing something like that is just not something that I would get on and watch a video on YouTube. For cleaning your firearms, things of that nature, especially if you're unsure about how to break that one down exactly, that's a great way. But don't buy the cheapest accessories out there and plan on betting your life on them. I wouldn't want to do it. Holsters. I'm a holster nut. I have holsters like my wife has shoes. I have a holster for every handgun that I own. So if I want to carry it, I can. Now, the thing is, if I'm going to start carrying it, I have to practice with it. So I develop that muscle memory with it. I learn the trigger squeeze, the trigger break, and the reset of that trigger, because every gun's going to be different. Not only that, but you see people going by, I don't like to product bash per se, but some of the holsters out there, there's some that are just cheap that have a little slot in the front that they just hang on your belt and flop around, and they have a little pouch on the front that you can stick an extra magazine. Don't bet your life on these. Don't bet your life on a little $5 or $6 holster. It's absolutely insane. People go spend $400, $500, $600 on a handgun and then don't want to spend more than $10 for a holster. Make sure that holster is for that gun. Make sure that it fits, and if that holster starts to break down, get rid of it. You know, one holster that I would recommend is Galco. I mean, Galco holsters, they're $100 a piece, but they're high quality leather and they just last. You know, you can have a hybrid all leather. You could have a hybrid that's leather and Kydex, or you can go with Kydex. You know, there's no right or wrong. It's whichever one works for you. Just make sure it's a good quality holster and it's designed to fit that firearm. Number 9, not carrying properly in your state or knowing your own state laws. I get this all the time. I get people calling me, hey, can I carry here? Hey, can I carry there? Can I open carry here? Can I conceal carry here? Michigan laws are crazy. Now, the thing about laws is they change all the time, so you have to constantly be updating yourself on those laws. A place you can go to update your laws for Michigan is the michigan.gov/MSP. That's the Michigan State Police. You can go to the firearms section there and read all the laws. It's like 250 pages. If you can't sleep, it's a good thing to start reading. But there again, laws are constantly changing. So know where you can't carry. Know where you can carry. Know where you can't carry openly. Know where you can't carry concealed. These are things you need to know. Know your laws. Last thing you want to do is get yourself in trouble. I had a girl that was signed up to take my class. She had to cancel the class because she left her firearm in her glove box of her car. She didn't have her CPL. That is not a proper place to carry your firearm. Her sister was driving her firearm. They charged her and her sister. We don't know what's going to happen. It still hasn't gone to court. But know how to properly carry your firearm. If you don't have a CPL, the proper way to carry your firearm in Michigan is the firearm has to be unloaded and the ammunition separate, has to be in a container, and has to be in the furthest access point of your vehicle. So if you're in a car, it has to be in the trunk. If you're in an SUV, it has to be in the back. If you're in a pickup, it has to be behind the seat on the passenger side. Or if you have like an extended cab, it has to be under the seat on the passenger side. Which is kind of funny to me because it's harder to get a firearm from behind you directly than if it is on the passenger side. Now, if you have your CPL, you're pretty much open to carry however you would like to. Now, that is pistols only, not long guns. Long guns still can only be carried when you're going to and from the range or to and from hunting. You just can't carry a long gun in your car in the state of Michigan. So know your state's laws and where you can and can't carry. And also, as a disclaimer, this information I'm giving you is not a legal advice. We do not have an attorney-client relationship. I'm just telling you what state law says. Again, it is not legal advice. And last but not least, number 10, think all or every state's firearms laws are the same. Has a tendency to think that every state laws are the same. All states have the same firearm laws, and that is the furthest from the truth. There are 39 states that reciprocate and recognize Michigan's concealed carry license and will honor it, and we honor those states. But just because that state recognizes and honors Michigan's CPL license doesn't mean that the places that you can and can't carry are the same as the places that you can and can't carry in the state of Michigan. So if you're going to be traveling, it's your responsibility to know the laws of the state that you're traveling through. If you don't have a CPL and you're traveling and you want to take it with you for protection, say you're going from here to gun site in Arizona to train and practice, and you're driving all the way from here to Arizona, know how you have to transport that firearm in the state that you're traveling through. Every state is going to be different. Every state's going to be different. So it's your responsibility, again, to know those state laws. Well, those are the top 10 mistakes that I see the people making when it comes to just owning a firearm, traveling with a firearm, or concealed carry. So if you like this video, reach down there and hit that subscribe video. Give us a thumbs up. We'd like to hear what you have to say. Leave us a comment. Any other training or anything or any aspects or videos that you want to hear any ideas, any questions, feel free to ask. That's what we're here for. Again, this is Jeff with Defensive Shooting Skills. Everybody stay safe, God bless, and take care.